Thank you. Just trying to find that. Just trying to find the agenda. Sorry, you guys, just bear with me for 1 second.
Can you see that?
Yeah. Starting.
All right, welcome to the meeting tonight, May 9th, regular session of the school committee. Happy to have so many people here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have our level learning stuff.
We do.
This is so exciting. So this is our all-time favorite bullet on our agenda, always the love of learning. And we have French exchange to Lyon to talk about, and a video. Who's doing it? I was like, where are you?
I'm doing it. I just need to share my
Two?
screen.
Okay.
And I can't play the videos. We can't play sound apparently in this room, so I'll have to post the link to the video afterwards.
How do I get her to share? Hold on.
Okay. So Joe, can I just share my screen?
Yeah, I'm just, why don't you?
Okay, I'll wait.
Go to attend.
I'm here and it's just,
You're in attendees, but what is is Jayne a panelist?
yeah, Jayne's a panelist, so you should be able to share your screen.
You have to stop your sharing, I think.
Oh, duh. How many months have I been doing this? I mean, years. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm just going to get my presentation. Sorry about that.
Go to your email.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the French exchange that took place in April of this year. I'm Jayne Barrett. The students here at the high school call me Madam Barrett, and I organised the French exchange, and my chaperone was Senora Barrett, who teaches Spanish here at the high school. So the objectives for tonight's presentation, I'm just going to review our trip to Lyon and Paris. I'm going to discuss student learnings and then talk about future exchanges. So we left Swampscott on April the 5th for a 12-day trip to Lyon and Paris, France. We flew Air France, so I felt the students got the true French experience in terms of an airline. All the announcements were in French, the food that was served. It was more of a luxurious experience, I would say, even though we travelled economy, than if they'd been travelling domestically. We arrived in Lyon on April the 6th after a 4-hour layover in Paris, and then students met their host family at the airport. So in this photo, you can see that they met us at Lyon airport, and they were all waving American flags. This is one of our students, Sophia. So she actually hosted her student last year here in Swampscott. So last year, in May of last year, 15 students came to Swampscott from Lyon, and they attended classes here at the high school. And Sophia hosted one of the students. So she actually went back to stay with her, which was nice. And these are some of the other students who went. Nathan is in that photo with Emily. Nathan came here last year. And in the other photo, we have Tatiana and Keridwen. And they stayed with Evelyn and Easter last year. So just a little bit of background. Lyon is France's second city. It fights for that place with Marseille. It has a population of over 2 million in the whole metropolitan area. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site because it has a lot of Roman ruins. It has a Roman amphitheatre and theatre. It has the old Lyon, Vieux-Lyon, is a medieval city, and it played an important role during the Renaissance. And it's also important for silk making. So it's a culturally rich city. There's lots of history there for the students to learn. April the 7th was our first day of school. Students attended classes with their host student in the morning. And it was kind of cool because they got to ride the metro to school. The metro in Lyon runs every 2 minutes. Yeah, there's a new train every 2 minutes, so it's a little different to the MBTA.
On time and running.
So this is Lycée de la Trinité. This is the high school that we attended. It's a private Jesuit high school, but although it is private, it is controlled partly by the French Department of Education. So the curriculum is determined by the French Department of Education. It has a strong English program, and that is why the students from Lyon came here last year, because certain students graduate high school with a dual diploma. They graduate with an American GED along with their French baccalaureate. So it's it's very impressive. So our students attended a range of different classes, and I taught a couple of English classes. I took French high school seniors and juniors through our college application program here in the US. And I talked about the differences between private and public colleges so they could get an idea of how different it is to France. And then our students were able to see the difference between the French and the US education system. School in France, the lycée starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and it runs till 6 o'clock at night. Each day is different, so the students will have a different schedule every day. They do not have school on a Wednesday afternoon. Classes are very much lecture style, so the teachers lecture and the students take note. And I think our students from Swampscott were very surprised at how boring it could be, because we do make great efforts here to engage our students in a range of different activities. We do a lot of group work, we use a lot of technology in the classrooms, and they did not see that in the French high school. So I think it was a really eye-opening experience for them. So they did class in the morning on the first day, and in the afternoon we went on a walking tour of Old Lyon, and we rode the funicular to the Fauvier Church, and we also visited the Roman ruins. On Tuesday, again, we did class in the morning, and then Signora Barrett created a scavenger hunt around the Presqu'île district of Lyon for the students to complete in the afternoon, and these were our scavenger hunt winners. Wednesday, we did another walking tour. We walked on average 8 miles every day. Wow. Yeah, it was a lot. Lyon has loads of these wonderful murals. You can see it in the picture here, and this one is updated over the years. So we did a walking tour of the Lyon murals, we did a boat trip in the afternoon to a museum, and of course they had to do some shopping. Lots of shopping. Thursday, we were very fortunate to have breakfast at a master chocolatier. So this company is called Bernachon, and their daughter came to Swampscott last year. So she is the daughter of Paul Bernachon, who is a master chocolatier, and her grandfather was Paul Bocuse. So Lyon is the gastronomic capital of the world, and Paul Bocuse, if you've ever seen the film Ratatouille, he was the fictional chef. Well, the fictional chef is based on Paul Bocuse. So his granddaughter actually came to Swampscott and attended classes here, and one of our students went back and stayed with her, and her name was Eliana Levine, and she wrote about the experience. The French exchange program was amazing. It thoroughly helped expand not only my French speaking, but my knowledge of French culture, school, styles, and values. I had the best time living a French lifestyle with my host in Lyon, as well as discovering all of the things Paris has to offer. This trip will help bolster my performance on the AP exam, as I have better references for cultural comparisons and conversational French. It also serves as an awesome memory I can look back on. On Thursday, we were lucky enough to participate in a philosophy class. So all French students have to take philosophy in high school. It's part of their graduation requirement. So Monsieur Béguin was kind enough to conduct a French-English class with us, and we discussed what is your definition of happiness. After that, we went and we played some pétanque near the school, and then they had a pizza party for us before we left. On Friday, we departed for Paris. So Lyon to Paris is about the same distance as Boston to New York. It took us 2 hours to get there on the train because they have a high-speed train. So again, it was a wonderful opportunity for the children to see how advanced public transportation can be. And we actually shared a compartment with the Lyon basketball team. So they were traveling to Paris and then going to Lille to play in a tournament. And one of their players was American, and he spoke beautiful French. So again, the French players were saying to our students how well he spoke French. You know what I mean? So that was great for them to see as well. When we were in Paris, we did a whole host of things. On the Saturday, we went to a perfume museum, and then we did a cooking class. So we had one child who had we had several allergies. So they were very good because they made sure that we were working with almond flour as opposed to real flour, and the students made a variety of desserts. On Sunday, we went to Versailles. And again, in class with me, the students have studied, we do a castle unit. Sam and Noelle will remember the castle unit well. So it was nice. It was very nice for me as a teacher, because even when we were going around Lyon, it's a medieval city, they were sort of like saying, okay, madame, we understand now why we were learning about medieval history in French class. Because I'm not just teaching them the language, I'm teaching them the history and the culture of the country as well. And we're just doing that through the medium of French. So that was nice for us to go to Versailles and to bring that to life as well. We took a boat trip down the Seine. You can see France's smaller version of the Statue of Liberty. And we went up the Eiffel Tower. We went to the Louvre. We went to the Musée d'Orsay. Again, I do an Impressionist unit in class where we study the French Impressionist painters. So they were able to see those paintings, you know, the real paintings at the Musée d'Orsay. Because we were in France, we had lots of nice restaurant dinners as well. So student learnings, from my point of view, it was a wonderful experience because they got to attend real high school classes. They stayed with French families, so they were really immersed in the language, and they ate dinner with their French family every night. So they saw how important that act of coming together at night is for French families. They rode the metro, the TGV, Air France, lots of different methods of public transportation, and they were exposed to French history, culture, and daily life. So future exchanges. We have a strong relationship with Lycée de la Trinité. I worked with them in my previous high school in New Jersey and started the exchange last year. I emailed all the teachers and the principal when we came back and thanked them for their time and for looking after us so well. And the principal wrote back to me and said he very much hopes that this relationship can continue. So my proposal would be that, if possible, 15 students come back to us next year. The timing-wise, we normally do it in May because the weather is better. As you can see from those photos, the weather was a little kinder to us in Lyon in the spring than it can be here in Massachusetts. They come just after AP exams, and then they stay through Memorial Day, and then they go before the seniors, before high school graduation. And then we go back to Lyon in 2026. I have a few more. Unfortunately, I couldn't get any students to come tonight because it's AP exams this week, and a lot of them are taking an AP exam tomorrow. Yes, are you taking it, Noelle? Yes, a lot are taking an AP exam tomorrow. But they have written a few quotes for me. So Sophia Duval, one of my seniors, I learned a lot about French culture in the school, home, and everyday environment. It was really nice to be able to see artwork I had studied in history class in person, like the Coronation of Napoleon and the Mona Lisa. I gained confidence in both speaking and understanding French. So that's great feedback to have from the kids because it's really bringing a class that I do with them to life. And then just if you have any questions.
That's awesome.
Before you ask questions, I want to tell our two student reps you're going home at 7:30 tonight and not at 8 o'clock. So 7:30, watch the clock.
Anyone? My question is like, how do I go?
Yeah. Do you need chaperones?
Do you need chaperones?
Wow. I mean, really. We do an awful lot of talking here about what makes this district so unique, and from the administrators to the teachers to maybe us, This kind of opportunity is just immense for growth, for getting ready to go to college, and I think it's great you do this. I think the presentation's great. Thank you.
But there is a lovely video, so I'll have to share that with you, because one of the students put a video together, and it's awesome. I also have another student who came on the exchange, and he previously attended a private school where they do an exchange every year. And his mother said to me how surprised a lot of the parents were that we offered this exchange here at Swampscott.
Really.
Thank you for organizing this, for taking the time out of your schedule to take the students there, and this is great. Thank you.
Welcome.
I just want to say thanks. Shout out to my seed training pal.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to acknowledge the great work you've done on this. I know, my daughters participated on a previous trip to Quebec, and it was a great experience for them, and, to appreciate the good work you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming tonight. Sure, we appreciate that. Committee comments? Sam, you want to go first?
Yeah. Like she said, we are in the midst of AP. They started at the beginning of this week, and they should be done, I think, by the end of next week. So yeah, a little bit stressful, but aside from that, I'll just shout out the Heritage Festival next Friday, one last time,
Right.
and I have no other announcements.
And Noel?
2 weeks ago, the juniors had their prom, which was super fun. I know a couple of you guys were there, so that was very nice. It was such an amazing, fun night. This Friday, progress reports close for the rest of the school, and then seniors, they come out, so they're almost done with their term. They have their finals next week, and then they graduate on May 31st, if any of you guys want to attend the graduation.
It is a Friday night.
May 31st.
Friday night.
It's going to be so interesting. Ms. O'Connor?
I just, before we head into town meeting, I just wanted to make a couple of statements about our budget. And I want to be clear that the current budget, as it stands, does not fully fund our educational needs, and I voted against it. The superintendent, as a town employee, has to follow guidelines, but the committee has to advocate for more so she can do her job and follow through with her goals. And I don't think that this has happened. Sorry. Our education budget is growing by 3.84%. It's being spun as 5% growth because it's also funding things like buses to benefit our abutters, funding a year of higher utility bills because solar panels were value engineered out, and funding contributions for special education because our circuit breaker savings have been gutted by the town administrator. 3.8% growth isn't sufficient on the heels of COVID and the associated defunding that has never been recaptured. Our town's financial policy is to hold budgets to 2% plus new growth. I think this is a really important piece. And this has helped our town to grow our credit rating and to make building our school, our newest school, more affordable. But it has also caused several departments in town, particularly schools, but also some other departments, to cut services. And our town right now has the third highest excess levy capacity in Essex County. A year ago at town meeting, the chair of the finance committee suggested that this policy was not sustainable given our needs and rising costs. Yet here we are with nothing changed a year later. And despite the school committee consistently asking for a summit to discuss, that has never happened. And we're not privy to what, if any, discussions there have been regarding this policy and how it's not meeting needs. So I can only assume that it has not been revisited, and that if it has, our needs were just not included. Swampscott, as I mentioned, has $8 million in excess levy capacity, and that means when Town Hall tells us that there isn't enough money, and unfortunately, when we repeat that, it means that there are only finite dollars at our disposal. I say that this is not true. There is absolutely capacity to raise money in our budget. In fact, $8 million worth. I am not suggesting that we go after $8 million, but I am appalled that we're making cuts when the town is suggesting a $400,000 mobile town hall, $30 million library, and what we learned last night of a $250,000 over budget in legal fees. Never mind the $80,000 that the DEI consultant that has been talked about at town meeting for years but has never been hired. So continuing a policy of a 2% tax growth is forcing budget cuts that are negatively impacting our students. Not all of our cuts, but certainly more cuts than what we would be making if we had our budget fully funded. Refusing to discuss the possibility of amending the policy, I think, is derelict, and I'm not going to sugarcoat my disdain for the budget, nor am I going to pretend that we're fortunate enough to have the 3.8%, or as they're going to position it, 5.1% growth, because it's all the town that can afford. We can afford more, and our net school spending has taken a hit because the town has chosen to mythologize the idea that we can't afford to, rather than the idea that it's expensive, but it's necessary because it's what we value. So.
Well said, Amy. Follow that one, Mr. Pastor.
I am just going to say, good job, Amy, and I will pass the torch.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yep.
Jantis.
Yeah, also, very good job, Amy. Very, very well said. I just wanted to add that I also voted against that budget for all of the reasons that you articulated. And I really like the examples. I had thought of the mobile town hall and the $30 million library as well. And, you know, it just makes me shake my head when we have worked very, very diligently here to get those monies. And, you know, to then, you know, see things like that, it's just, it's very, very frustrating. So I'm not gonna belabor the point, but, you know, everything you said, I completely agree with, and thank you for saying it so well.
We appreciate you guys speaking out about this. It's just tough. I've said it over and over that you know, we know this isn't sustainable, and we know we have to fix it. And I think that we continue to work with the town and try to do stuff. And I know that there's a lot of frustration, and I think that the school and superintendent and the business office have done a great job of looking at our budget and building it up from zero to look at what the absolutes we have to have. And it stinks not to have everything we want to have. And to your point, we should have, because we have a town in good fiscal shape. But so it's just, we've been talking about this for a long time. And yeah, anyway, I wanted to turn to something sort of a little more positive. The note that came out from Mr. Cohat this week, or the end of last week, that talked about the esports team. Hello, who knew we were so good? The Mashers. I don't know if any of you guys watched the clip from. So they won the state champions. The 24 MSAA play versus state champions, right? So that's amazing, and they've done it 3 years. Who even knew? And I watched the video. You guys should all watch it. I'm not exactly sure what I watched.
I think you watched the highlight of the last moment.
The highlight of the last moment,
yes.
And they won. I didn't actually understand the win, but it was just so cool that there was 3 kids there that won, and one of them is the winningest person, like has won the most state champions. So, like, it was one of our students. It's so cool. So the team that was there, I don't want to hash, do your names. I'm sorry. Omar Brito, Aaron Thompson, and Nail Quasheri. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm impressed, and I saw the trophy out front, and I'm really glad it's sitting out front on the security desk, because it's great. It should be in the trophy with the trophy case with all the rest of them. I love it. Anyway, and also I know there's a performing arts. Showcase. I think next week on the 16th. It's always really great. It's like at 6 o'clock the art exhibit is in the hall out here, and then a performance, and that's always a really fun event. So hopefully people can go there and see that. Superintendent, take it over.
Well, I had previously asked the permission of the chair to move a 3-page statement I prepared about the FY25 budget before public comment. But given Ms. O'Connor's statement and the fact that you acknowledge I am a town employee, I don't think it's appropriate at this time for me to read my statement. I would say I 100% agree with you. I sent an email to the entire district yesterday trying to explain the process of what we do, highlighting the 2% plus new growth, highlighting the fact that we got more this year than we have in the past, talking about the process in that, you know, somebody said to me in passing, just joking, like, what, you don't spin a wheel and pick somebody to reduce, and being facetious. And, you know, I want people to understand how painful this is for us. And, you know, we had 22 internal meetings alone with administrators. We start with a zero-based budget. That means we don't just look at last year's budget and start going from the top down. We go from the bottom up. We start with zero. We look at our COLAs. We look at our operating costs that have increased. Then we build programs. We build needs. We build classes. We look at all of that. And then we get an allocation from the town. And the town, once they give us that allocation, we have to look at what the delta is. And then we have to ask your administrators to go back and analyze their programs and analyze their class sizes and analyze the needs of their students. And if they had to give something up to close that gap, what is it going to be? And I mostly wanted to clear up that it's not central office making these decisions. It is the team of administrators here tonight, and Mr. Kohut is at an awards dinner tonight. He couldn't be here. It's picking the best of the worst. I mean, it's not, none of the decisions are good. I look at last year, there were 24 reductions. Of those 24 reductions, 2 were teachers, thank goodness. But I know very well, since 2019, more have been teachers. I think everybody in this room knows me well enough to know that my mantra has always been stay as far away from the classroom as I can. You know, remove positions that don't directly impact students. Unfortunately, this year, we were forced to go in that arena. But we have been very conscientious about, you know, the media assistant last year in the library. We cut a maintenance and operations position this year. We've cut an SEL position. We reduced business office hours. We reduced an administrative assistant at the middle school. So I just think it's important for everybody in this room tonight, everybody on Zoom tonight, to know that we don't take it lightly to go to the classroom level. That's never our intent. I'm given a number. I need to look at those needs, and then I need to ask my team to help me solve a problem. And none of it feels good. I'm not the one handing the letters, though I've been in that position. And I just want people to know it is not easy. As a town employee, I would echo everything you've said, Amy, because we know that we've had these discussions here. As Ms. Steller and I went around and did our budget song and dance all spring and fall, you know, we talked about the fact that the new school is a contributing factor. Busing is a contributing factor. One of the largest contributing factors that we tried to explain to the town is that out-of-district tuitions, I know you all heard about last year, have gone up 19% in 2 years. Every single year, those increases were 2 to 3%. So to go from, say, a 6% to 19%, we had to explain to the town, like, it's unexpected. Nobody would expect that. Nobody expected it across the state. And I said I wasn't going to talk, but apparently I am. I'm just not reading. The only thing I would say, and I know some people could say you don't care what's happening in other districts, because typically I don't. I focus on ours. But if you pick up any paper, you look at anything online, you see that everybody's struggling. What are the reasons they're struggling? North Andover's $3 million in the red. Why are they in the red? Same things that we're citing. The ESSER funds from the pandemic have ended. 2024, they end. That was a great cushion. If one thing came out of the pandemic, we were able to fund so many things out of the grants that we got. The out-of-district tuition, the transportation costs have gone up significantly. The fact that we have an obligation to bus students to the new school. All of these things are contributing to the difficulties that we're having. I do want to highlight some positive things about this year that maybe have gotten lost or I haven't shared, even with the committee, as much as I probably should have. Because of our Innovative Pathways program, we are adding positions in FY25. We're creating a full-time career counselor who's currently only a .5 to really counsel our kids that are in the Innovative Pathways programs to, really get them where they need to go. We have increased an FTE for a librarian at the elementary school from a .8 to a 1.0. We've added a reading implementation specialist. Why? Because we are implementing a new literacy curriculum, which Dr. Bacon will be presenting to the committee. And we found a way, though we're struggling, to do it all at once. And I know that was a big thing with the committee. We're doing K through 4. We'll be talking about that more, and I know Dr. Bacon will be talking about that more with her team. We have fully funded the After Dark program for our kids that don't get into Essex Tech, that might want that program where they come here till 11 o'clock, and then they go and they do their career and technical programs. We've added a science teacher at the high school. We've added a math interventionist. And one of the things that was incredibly important to my elementary team, the original thing that was on the table was, well, we'll get rid of the kindergarten aides, the half-time kindergarten aides. That was something that was critical to the elementary. We kept them in, and we sacrificed something else. So I think it's just important to highlight that there are some additions. I hate this part of my job. I hate the fact that myself and my team are expected to come up with people to sacrifice or positions to sacrifice. And I can say what I've been taught for years and years, that it's not people, it's positions. But in our community and in our school district, it is people. And I'm going to get emotional. What makes our district special is that it is about relationships. And it feels very disingenuous to value relationships and then have letters being given, even though as a teacher for many years, I was given many letters and I bounced around the district. The final thing I would say is that I'm not sure the community understands, that you voted on a budget January 25th. It is May 9th. The amount of changes that have occurred in the district, the amount of student needs that have occurred between January 25th and May 9th are huge. Every day is different. And so we're constantly trying to massage our budget to stay within a number that's been given to us. We don't have choices. It's give me this and I'll give you that, because we still have to stay within that number. So there are hard choices. There are hard decisions. I do not like this part of our job. And I don't know if the community understands that, we open the school year, and guess what? October 1, we're talking budget. And we're talking budget till March. We're talking budget till public hearing in January when the school committee votes on it. And then, now January, and now we've had 3.5 months. And guess what? Things have changed, but I can't change that number. So as I explained to the staff and the faculty and staff yesterday, the next thing is that it does go to town meeting on May 20th. And I said in the email that I shared with you that town meeting can vote it down, they can vote to approve it, or they can vote to modify it. And I want to emphasize that word, modify it. And somebody said, you mean they can make it less? And I said, yes, and they can also make it more. And so if the voices of the people in this room and on this call want to make a difference, make some calls. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
Suzanne, can I just make one comment? before
Yeah,
that?
this is hard.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Superintendent, thank you as always. The superintendent and I have known each other for a very long time. And the one thing I will say is the superintendent, whether you're a teacher or a principal, you're always straight. Whether it was we're sitting in a room talking about a child or it's about budget. I'm ecstatic that you're all here today. You're preaching to the choir today. What you have to do, if you're a Swampscott resident, is to become involved in town meeting. If you're a resident and you don't become involved in town meeting, your fault, not mine, not John's, not Suzanne's, not Amy's, not Karen's. We're 5 voices. We're on your team. The problem is we don't have the decision making. And we have to have a budget that's balanced. We found out in the last couple of years what happens if we don't. So I appreciate you're here, I look forward to what you have to say. This is only the beginning. And as the superintendent pointed out, we have been talking about this since October. And as we say all the time, and it changes, and superintendent's right. So make your voice heard. Tonight, at town meeting, write letters. Just remember, the people on here are in your corner. We're not the challenge. So, that's it for me.
Do you want to do the rest of your superintendent's report?
Sure, I do, because so I'm just going to go through, I think we should hold the technology update until after we do public comment, if that's okay. I don't think we'll be here till 9 o'clock, so, but I would like Ms. Barrett to do her field trip to Quebec City. If you recall, any field trip out of the country, out of the state, has to be approved by school committee. We have approved this in the past, so it's just a formality, but I'm not comfortable having all of the powers that be sign off on a field trip without it coming before school committee if it is out of state or out of the country.
So, do you want us to move the votes ahead, to take a vote on?
I think this is the only thing we have to vote on, and we do have a quorum, so
Yeah, I mean, we have.
I don't know if Ms. Barrett wanted to say anything.
It's very similar to a trip that I ran last year. We're away for a weekend. We miss a Friday from school. We go to Quebec City. We go around the city and we do some winter activities. We've added a few activities with this new trip. We're going to do dog sledding and ice skating. We're not staying in the Chateau Frontenac. We're staying in a lesser hotel, yes, but yeah. We took 24 students, and I think Mr. Giantis, his daughter, both daughters came on the Quebec trip with us last year. So yeah, that's it really.
Yeah, school committee loves a trip. Does someone want to make a motion to accept the Quebec trip for FY? It's for the next year, 20.
Yeah, 24, yeah, 25, yeah.
I'll make the motion that we accept the field trip to Quebec City for next school year.
Second.
It's up to you, John. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
That motion passes. It's all been signed. It's ready to go. Dr. Bacon signed it. Mr.
Yes.
Cohat signed it. Good to go. I love the opportunities we give our students.
Yeah.
The other 2 items are D&E, and they really do fall under subcommittee policy. But I wanted to bring them to your attention because we've had a lot of people working on them. And having buses at the elementary school has really prompted Ms. Stella in the business office to develop an SES Transportation Policy. And it's a transportation bus policy based off of best practices in other districts, if I'm correct. So I don't want to read it to you, given the things that we have to do tonight, but I do want to just highlight the categories that were explored: eligibility, riding limits, routes and bus stops, rules for students and families, unloading, loading the bus, supervision of riders, vandalism, and there is, I believe, going to be a sign-off. Is there a sign-off on this? No. It's just an expectation, and you can lose bus privileges. So having a formal transportation policy. This would extend to our other bus, which is the Nahant bus. Metco has their own bus policy, but knowing what's coming up from the elementary school, we can definitely revisit this on May 23rd. But it has been drafted for you, and certainly you can offer, we could do a second read at the next one with offering edits.
Wait, can I stop you for a second? So the school committee policies come from the school committee.
Right.
And it's great that you worked on it, because you would be part of the committee anyway, but I think Mr. Giantis and Ms. Marshall are all the policy committees, so I think like you guys should take this
Absolutely.
and then make phone calls or talk to the people that created it and bring something to the meeting, and that will be the first read.
And
Like,
so, I agree with you.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I want our policy committee to bring it to the meeting for the first read.
I 100% agree. Having something drafted for the policy subcommittee makes perfect sense. If this isn't, I don't know if it's in Word format or Google format, but we can get to an editable format for you and Karen. It's in Google, so you'll be able to edit it and bring forward. So first read is off the table. It's more of a draft for you all to take and work on. And that leads us to letter E, which is the cell phone policy that has been drafted for the policy subcommittee for Swampscott High School. And we all know we went down yonder, pun intended, and it was controversial. We are not, I don't think the high school team, nor myself, nor any of the faculty or staff are thinking it's working 100%. We know they're not in the pouches. We know people are breaking the pouches. I'm looking at Noelle smiling. We know they're in the backpacks. We know we have a problem with earbuds and AirPods and earbuds, whatever, that it's not working perfectly. I will say from my observation, and I'd love to hear from Sam and Noelle, it has, they're away most of the time. And so Mr. Kohut and Ms. Finn and others that assisted them created a draft of a policy that just really highlights the violations and how they would continue in a similar manner without using pouches next year. There is talk about going to those big boxes, the carry-and-go boxes that they sell on Amazon. They would just put them in the boxes in the morning. If in an event of an emergency, the teacher takes the box and they have access to it. But it was more about putting the verbal warning, the next offense, and then holding on to the phones in writing so that it was really meaty and it would be followed. So they drafted this for the committee, policy committee, to take a look at and bring back suggestions. I think I'm noticing or hearing that, it's the hoodies on with the earbuds in, and, but I think it has cut down significantly on the cell phone use. But I could be naive, and I will throw that to Noelle and Sam. What would you say?
Yeah, so we worked with Mr. Kohut, the Student Advisor Council, to draft that kind of plan. I think it's less about the actual pouches and more about just having it kind of set in stone, like the repercussions that come from it. And I think that, we'll talk about it, you'll see it when we present it, but I think it's a good plan. I don't think that we need them next year. You can ask Noelle, but I think most students would be like in concession with me as far as how it's affected overall.
I agree with what Sam said. We did work on with Mr. Kohut, and he's very good about getting everybody's input and what everybody thinks. And I think even if it's not in the pouch, it is away, and that's the most important part.
Right. Does it feel different in the school right now with yonder, or with people trying to keep it away?
At first, it was a different experience, but now it's kind of you just get used to it.
Do you think conversations and engagement among the kids has increased because they're not on their phones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Oh my God, that just makes me want to cry. Like, this has to be done.
And so that actually concludes my report. We will come back to the technology update, which I don't.
With that draft policy, we'll go the
yes,
same route.
absolutely.
To vet again and bring to the next meeting so we can have a first
Please
read.
forgive me for putting first read on there.
No, it's okay.
Nope, you're absolutely right. Follow the procedure. And so with permission of the chair, I'm going to hold off on technology update and perhaps suggest that we move public comment up.
Yeah, we can certainly move public comment up. I don't know, there's a lot of people here and there's people online, so if you're here, sign up in the front here, because we just need to keep a record. And if you're online and you want to speak, you can raise your hand and and we'll unmute you and allow you to speak. I mean, generally, we have a limited time we allot to public comment. There's a lot of you here, so we'll play it by ear, but if you can leave your comments to about 3 minutes or so, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you're listening and you hear your comment, feel free to just get up and say, I agree with what the past speaker said. And also, just know that we're listening to what you're saying, but we don't immediately respond because as a committee, we take the information in and then we put it on the agenda to talk about at the next time. We just don't react to things in person like this, and we'll never respond to specific personnel matters pertaining to staff, other than the superintendent, who's the only employee we oversee. So just know we're listening to you, and I really appreciate you coming here. It's so rewarding I know you're here because you have an issue, but it's so nice to have people paying attention, because we feel like what we do is really important, and it's not always heard by the people that need to hear it. And having you here, and then bringing a lot, I can see some community members in the attendees, and it's really nice for us, for people to see, the good, the bad, and the ugly for us. Anyway, are there people?
Okay.
Yeah, Glenn?
First one's Rebecca Buckler.
Oh, well, didn't we think that was going to happen?
I know, I could have listened to that
Oh,
all
I know,
night.
right?
I know.
We love your voice too.
Hi. I have to see myself now on TV. That's not fun. Thank you for letting us speak. Henry Ford was quoted as saying,
Sorry, just because we have, can you just state your name?
Oh, sure. Rebecca Buckland, President, SEA. Henry Ford was quoted as saying, coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. Before reading our official statement, I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to acknowledge the collaboration and success the union, the superintendent, and additionally the school committee have had over the last few years. We have come together to solve many problems, and I strongly believe this is still possible. And with that being said, I want to read. The Swampscott educators are profoundly concerned by the proposed budgetary cuts slated for the upcoming academic year, which will unfortunately lead to the elimination of several teaching positions. While all levels are being affected by efficiencies, the high school students have continued to experience the impact of eliminated positions more heavily than the other schools. As educators serving the community, our foremost commitment lies in safeguarding the well-being of our students and preserving the quality of their education. We are increasingly alarmed by the anticipated ramifications, including larger class sizes, diminished elective offerings, and a reduction in the availability of advanced placement courses at Swampscott High School, all stemming from the loss of these vital teaching positions. Over the past 5 years, we have witnessed the loss of teaching positions, with 10.5 of these occurring specifically at Swampscott High School. Notably, during a fall school committee meeting, the district prioritized goals for the 2025 budget. These goals included reducing class sizes at the high school for the upcoming year. However, the proposed 4 additional cuts, including 3 classroom teachers, will inevitably yield the opposite effect, further increasing already high classroom sizes. As research shows, larger class sizes can lead to diminished opportunities for meaningful engagement, mentorship, and the cultivation of a supportive learning environment essential for student success. In addition to the reduced class sizes at the high school, another goal for the 25 budget was to also decrease class sizes in grade 5. Instead, we are currently witnessing the repercussions of continued cuts firsthand in our 5th grade classrooms. Classrooms that have already been reduced from 8 to 7 and will decrease to 6 for next year, despite consistent and increasing student enrollment numbers. Consequently, this has led to unmanageably large class sizes. This is particularly impactful during a transitional year for students as they first enter Swampscott Middle School. We have observed a concerning uptick in negative student behavior, a decline in individualized connection and support, and a decreased on-task learning. While our dedicated educators are resourceful in adapting, we're increasingly aware that this strains their capacity and exacerbates teacher burnout, ultimately doing a disservice to our students. Retaining experienced, enthusiastic, and energetic educators is paramount for sustaining the high standards of excellence our school community prides itself on. These educators bring invaluable expertise, passion, and innovative teaching methods to the classroom, enriching the learning experience and inspiring students to excel. We have been and are always welcome to open dialogue and collaboration between our union, school administration, and the committee to find creative solutions whenever and wherever possible. Efficiencies made in order to comply with an already underfunded budget is, as we all know, unsustainable. The budget has and will continue to have damaging effects. 10.5 high school positions are costly losses that will never be recouped. The Swampscott Education Association stands firm in our commitment to advocate for the best interests of both our educators and the students they serve. We can no longer sit back and accept budgets that do not meet the needs of our district. As we look ahead, we ask the school committee to partner with us to fight for our students. It is not only our duty, but our collective responsibility to support the evolving needs of our students and continue to advocate for a fully funded budget that prioritizes our students both academically and socially. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Laughlin. I'm just going to call a guest that's online right now, Jenna Arsenal. You can go ahead and speak. You can just unmute yourself, yeah.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
If you're talking, we can't hear you yet.
Can't. Hello?
Oh.
There you go.
Yes, okay. Hi, sorry, this is my first time on public comment. My name is Jenna Arsenault. I live on Essex Street, right near the high school, actually. I'm a parent with 2 children currently enrolled in the Swampscott Public Schools and another child that will begin actually this fall, 2024. I came here tonight to voice a couple of concerns. We're pretty new in the school system. My kids are 6 and under, so not too heavily involved quite yet, but trying to learn the ropes and be educated so that I can give my children the best of the best. But we've encountered quite a few setbacks since we've gotten involved with the school system. One of my concerns is in regard to the recent memo that went out on Parent Square about the chronic absenteeism. I think that memo kind of rubbed a lot of parents the wrong way, including myself, especially because it didn't allow for any comments on that, and it wasn't emailed out. It was sort of like a one-way, almost felt like a slap on the wrist type of thing to parents. I just want to reiterate that there are so many reasons why children miss school, especially in a post-pandemic atmosphere. There are also extenuating circumstances for some families that really impact the ability to get a child, to and from school. The memo did make a point to state, quote, "We are here to help," end quote. I can tell you from personal experience that at the end of school year 2023, I actually had reached out to a member of the administration to ask for help because I'm a parent with a disability, that at times I am unable to get my children to and from school. When I voiced this very real concern to an individual within the administration, I was spoken to in a very rude and condescending manner. The person said, and I quote, and in this tone, "Does your disability prevent you from walking?" I'm appalled that someone that works in the school system, and specifically within the special education program, would say something like that to a parent with a disability. It really made me question how our children are being spoken to while under their care if this kind of statement just rolls off the tongue to an adult. I just want to put it out there that yes, my disability can and has prevented me from walking. The only help, if you want to call it that, was that I searched for someone in the community to help me. That's it. That's all I was offered, which I had been doing for quite some time. I would really like to know what kind of real help is actually being offered for those of us in this situation. It's nice to say that in a memo, but action speaks so much louder than words. I also want to call attention to the fact that I have reached out to the superintendent via email regarding concerns about the NRT bus that my special needs child takes to and from school. These concerns are safety related, and I have yet to see an email back. In short, the bus lost my child last year, in June, and it prompted me to call the Swampscott Police Department and totally freak out because I couldn't find my kid. Additionally, my child was nearly left at the wrong house just a couple of months ago this school year. I've escalated this to both the NRT and the school system. NRT has done nothing to reach back out to me after several attempts. Someone from the administration that I emailed initially just offered mileage reimbursement and stated that I should just take my child to and from school. This is when I decided to escalate the issue and email the superintendent. I have not received a response, and that email was sent out February 14th, 2024. To date, nobody has been held accountable for the complete negligence of the whereabouts of my child, who is special needs. And believe me, I wish it was as simple as just getting mileage reimbursed, because I would love nothing more than to transport my child myself. I wish I didn't have this disability, but it's something that I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life. I really appreciate all of you taking the time to listen to those concerns, and I really hope that there are some answers to these questions. I know they won't be answered tonight, but I look forward to hearing some feedback. I'm actually really glad that I started attending these school committee meetings via Zoom. I've listened in on a few. I really like what some of you had to say. I definitely agree that the budget cuts for the school system are atrocious. I mean, we had such a tough time getting my special needs child the services. It took me a whole school year and a half to get her where she really needed to be, and she's finally being supported. So I totally, I feel like there's a want there, but I'm anxious to see how that plays out.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jenna. I know it was your first public comment. You did great. So next we'll take someone in the audience. Next person is Miss Lessner. Amy, sorry.
Amy Lestever, History Department. I'm here to read a statement from the History Department, Social Studies Department. We are deeply concerned and disheartened by the news that the district has decided to cut a teaching position in the Swampscott High School Social Studies Department. This is the second cut in 2 years. We have gone from a department of 8 teachers last year down to only 6 teachers next year. This will drastically and negatively affect our students and will greatly reduce their options, especially for electives and advanced placement courses. Students are required to take 3 years of social studies in grades 9 through 11. However, many colleges expect students to take 4 years. And as a result, a large majority of seniors take social studies electives their senior year. Very few seniors will have that opportunity next year, as we will not likely be able to offer many of our electives. AP Art History, International Relations, and Introduction to U.S. Government, including an option to take those courses at honors level, and probably half of the sections of AP Psychology will not likely run next year. This will impact more than 135 students. The high school has asked departments to make our AP classes more inclusive and open to more students. We in the Social Studies Department have done that, and with 164 students, approximately 25% of our student body, this year enrolled in AP courses. This has been extremely challenging for the few teachers who are trained to teach AP classes, with teachers teaching 4 sections of AP classes, which is not the norm in any district. Next year, the remaining 6 teachers in our department will all struggle to teach larger than usual classes across the board, including AP classes, where students will not have access to sufficient individual attention to cover skills and content. This is Teacher Appreciation Week, a week when teachers' inboxes get filled with messages telling us how appreciated we are. It is almost cruelly ironic that we are currently faced with losing an excellent teacher and that we are being asked to do so much or more with continually diminished resources next year. Thank you.
Daniel Moretsky, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Thank you.
Hi. So I just wanted to express some concern regarding the new schedule that's proposed for the high school next year. I personally do not like this proposed schedule for a couple of reasons. One of them is that I feel like there would be even less total instruction time than we have right now with the current schedule, and I would imagine that is not the intended goal of this change, and I might be misunderstanding. From what I understand, the reason for the change was to accommodate Essex Tech students. I'm still not exactly even sure what that meant. I just heard that from a current teacher that told me that. And while it's understandable, that reason, I feel like there are too few students in the Essex Tech program to warrant a whole schedule change for most other people that are not Essex Tech students. And also, the current schedule allows time, personally, it's very convenient, the current schedule right now, for me to complete homework for classes. Each class meets only every other day, and that's very convenient for me, and I would have really hoped to keep it that way. And especially considering that I'm going to be a senior next year, and that's my last year of high school, I would very much prefer that my last year of high school go as smoothly as possible and as less stressful as possible. And I would very much prefer not to have to worry about adapting to a new schedule when I should really be focusing on finishing high school, having good grades, and being able to graduate on time. So I would strongly suggest that this change be reconsidered. And lastly, I'd also like to second everyone that commented on the budget cuts. Definitely a huge concern of mine as well, but it is understandable that things happen and these kinds of things have to be done, but yeah, I can't really say much on that, but yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Maretsky. And now, Ms. Nguyen, Katie?
Hi, Katie Nguyen, 5th grade teacher at the Swampscott Middle School, just with a letter from other 5th grade teachers. Dear ladies and gentlemen of the school committee, on behalf of the staff and students, we would like to share with you concerns about staffing and class size inconsistencies in the middle school, particularly impacting students in grade 5. We are well aware of the difficult spot that our administrators have been put in when a budget cannot sustain the necessary staffing. For those of you who may not be aware, grade 5 is a unique and critical transition year. For the first time, students are rotating through multiple classes and teachers, receiving grades in all subjects, and learning in academic and social expectations of the middle school. As a result, in this foundational year, class size does matter. This year, grade 5 has 2 teams of 3 teachers. The current 6th grade has fewer students than the 5th grade with 8 teachers. Next year will be the same. Our grade 5 students suffer because of the numbers. Their needs cannot be met. The social studies positions were both cut in grade 5, so these 6 teachers now all teach a new social studies curriculum from DESE with limited professional development for training. Further, students no longer have Title III support in math nor Title I support in reading. Grade 5 sets the foundation for good learning habits. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Nguyen. And we have one more participant on Zoom, Ms. Jennifer Kiles. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, I just wanted to reinforce some of the things that were commented earlier on the bus situation, particularly the lack of ability for parents to even be able to pay to have their student take the bus, with more and more parents being required to go into the office, or families that have children at 2 or 3 different schools. Just A, the reduction in traffic, and B, the ability for parents to provide for their family and make it to work on time is critical for these families. And we all hear, ask a neighbor, ask a friend. We already all know that. So if that were an option many of these families would do that, but when there's such a high number of families that are in these situations, it just lessens the amount of families that actually are able to help other families. In addition to that, I do see that there's no after-school program available for 5th graders. That's a huge concern. That's a pretty young age for children to be expected, you know, to be left alone at home. I know prior to the pandemic, there was programming available for 5th graders. So just curious and throwing it out there to see if there's any, you know, programming available in the near future for children that are in 5th grade, since that's typically considered an elementary school age for most school districts.
Thank you, Ms. Kiles. There happens to be another guest attendee here. Hold on. Vivian Schaffnet, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, my name is Vivian Schaffnet, and I'm a junior at the high school. I would like to express my concern about the history teacher that is being cut at the high school. This teacher has gone above and beyond this school year to not only support our academic needs, but our mental health needs as well, as he knows how stressful junior year can be for a lot of us. He has been a sigh of relief, honestly, for our school. This teacher does as much as possible to put a smile on our faces daily. Hearing the news that he got cut made me tear up, as well as many of my classmates. I'm aware that there are budget issues and this is not under my control, but I did want to express that this came as a huge upset to many of the students and teachers at the high school. This is particularly upsetting for me, not only because I really appreciate all of our current history teacher has done for us, but also regarding the AP program offered next year. This is a class I signed up for as I'm considering taking psychology in college, so this would be really difficult for me to not take psychology next year, as that's kind of a deciding point for what I would major in college. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate the comments here. And does anyone else want to say anything? Usually we just take who's on the list, but there's been a lot said. Go ahead. I can't, sorry. I just think it's important.
I think after this, though.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sheila Yang. I had a junior in high school now and another student graduate last year. And I'm just very upset that we're going to have teacher cuts. Like in 2024, after the pandemic, it's difficult to even conceive that we're having this conversation. And I know you support the teachers and you're on our side, but what you need to do is to help us fight for all of them. So I understand that there's 2 different budgets, but I only pay 1 tax bill. And if I have to shift more of my money into the school, I'm okay with it. So how do we get that done? And I know you say you start talking in October, but quite frankly, the public is just finding out about these teacher cuts now. We have 10 days until town meeting. So we want to partner with you to get these teachers to stay on payroll. If we lose Mr. Whalen, you're like giving a gem away off to the world that we should keep. We want to keep these gems that we have. And we need to fight. I don't want to, like, to understand, it's tough. That's all well and good, but I think we should fight, and I think our teachers are worth fighting for, and our students are worth fighting for. So how do we go to town meeting and get the modification of the budget, and how do we fight and let the town know, you know, this is what we need? When I moved here 20 years ago, our schools were in the top 40, and they've been declining. But I've also watched the town start throwing beer parties and spend all kinds of money. And as government, you are supposed to provide the things that the general public doesn't pay for necessarily, like bridges, roads, education. So I'd rather see my tax dollars go to our basic needs first than go to these extras like glass libraries that are, quite frankly, going to cost a whole teacher salary to keep clean. You know, I mean, some of this stuff is not necessary. Teachers are very, very necessary. And I just want to say, from Ben Franklin, investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So it's money well spent. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll do one last participant online too, Mr. Mastronzi. So you can go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah, I'm really sorry I can't be there. I'm actually feeling quite ill, but I just want to reiterate what Amy Lesnever said and say that it's just really disheartening, you know, to have a department that has gone from from 8 teachers to 6 teachers. And, you know, we all try to do our best for our students, and it's unsustainable if we keep cutting resources like this. And I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you. Okay. It's tough. All right, back to
I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and I really appreciate the students speaking up and speaking at public comment on Zoom. It's not easy, so just thank you. Coming back to my superintendent's report, I do want to have Ms. Mackey-Knowles give her technology update. We were reviewing it the other day, and it's fantastic. I often think about when I first became superintendent and Ms. Wright's goals of technology, and I think we've far surpassed that.
No, way surpassed it. Remember,
Way,
I was like,
I
just
know.
want a plan.
I know. But wait till you see this. Little pressure there.
All right.
I know.
Great. Just figured I'd give everyone a moment if they needed to stretch or leave. It's all good. Great. You're all staying. Thanks. 38 slides. Let's go. This will be quick. I'm Lytania Mackey-Knowles. I'm Director of Technology in Swampscott Public Schools. It's my 23rd year in the district here in a variety of positions, a teacher and high school administrator, and now technology director for the last 7 or 8 years. So during that time, we've grown astronomically in technology. When this high school was built, it was built with wired labs, so we had to build infrastructure basically from the ground up for wireless. And something that we talk about is we just keep moving forward every year. There's new projects, new goals, new things to increase our reliability of our network and to support teaching and learning. And that's really our mission statement. That's what we do. We support educators and students, and I think we have a pretty open, flexible, and robust digital environment, except for at the middle school, and that's part of our presentation. One of the things that we are really working on is Techquity, fancy word for technology equity. And it's important that we discuss that technology can perpetuate bias and discrimination without intentional effort to avoid it, and that's something that we think about every day with all the decisions that we make in technology. So what do we do every day? Well, we're supporting staff and students. This year we talked a little bit about how many tickets we had, and just to show what we do. And the portal shows one thing, and between our emails and instant messages that we get, phone calls, drop-ins, we're well over 10,000, but 10,000 sounded like a great number, of tickets spread among a team. And a lot of people don't put in tickets, but they come to see us every single day. They pop in and visit, and they need our support. And we don't always force a ticket if it's solved right away. But it's just how we do business. And the more technology we get and the more things that go digital, the more support we give. So we felt budget cuts and staffing impacts as well. A couple things that have changed since after the pandemic. We did get a tech assistant, and that was amazing, that supported the Swampscott High School Library, which I'll talk a little bit about in our one-to-one program. That was cut. SMS lost a full-time librarian to budget cuts. And that was something that we didn't really talk about much last year, but we felt the impact this year. We have a teacher who teaches math out of the library who's learning the craft to help support the one-to-one program. She's doing an excellent job, but again, it's part-time because the other half of the day is teaching, so all day long, kids are coming with broken Chromebooks and she's teaching math. So that is part of our situation, and the middle school is one of our heaviest technology users, so they need a lot of support. The teaching and learning team lost a staff member who supported all the curriculum and testing needs in the district. Tech absorbed that this year. And next year we worked with our director of finance to shave like $50,000 off our budget even going into next year.
because we knew that this situation was dire, and that will impact a lot of the things that we're able to do. Instead, we are utilizing a lot of grant funds, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and E-rate, the federal government program, to advance our projects. So I think this is kind of what you see. We have over 10,000 assets that we have in our district, and that would be computers and peripherals, everything from this little mic to headsets to monitors, hover cams, Promethean boards, network equipment. We have over 500 types of software. All you really see is that and us training. You don't see the all good stuff, the iceberg underneath, all the different things that are done to support technology, and it's growing. As the budget decreases each year, the technology support ramps up, and the technology needs for replacement grow. I know that all of us would not, I think everyone in this room would say it, sometimes that technology makes your life amazing, but also we wish that we could go back to like 1985 and just not have technology, and that's the tech team too some days, where we kind of freeze and we're like, it has a wire, it must be our job to fix it. So we think about that, especially one of those ramifications is the online testing. So every single paper test that you've ever done in your career as a student or an educator is now online, and that comes with, do the computers support it? Does the tech team have time to be there? They do not test without us there. Is the network supporting it? It's a lot of work, and it's something that, again, it's a hidden change. PSAT was like, yeah, guess what, we're online, but they forgot to ask the schools if they could support it. So that's another thing. I just had an email yesterday from the guidance department saying, can we schedule PSAT to make sure that tech's available? So it's basically like, when should we offer this test? We need to make sure that the team isn't doing MCAS. Same thing with the World Language Department. They schedule testing with us to make sure, and it's every single time you turn around. So there's so much that depends on the backbone of technology. And right now it's testing season, as we like to call it. We almost got shirts that said I love MCAS, but nobody felt that they were true, so we didn't. But we are supporting MCAS in every single building for the rest of the year, along with a whole host of other tests. So there's so much support there that you don't see. Then we talk about our specialty support. So we obviously have someone that part-time supports student services, and the demand on that will continue to increase. Deployment of specialty iPads and technology, and understanding and training staff and learning how does this technology work and what will the student need. And the district itself is going online from paper, and all these projects this year have needed the technology department to do them, help support them. Online timesheets for the business office, scholarship for guidance to go to Google, the graduation program, teaching and learning attendance postcards, all these things that we think are going to be fine, and then technology has to come in and assist with it, the team, specialty websites, the whole registration process. It just keeps getting better. So we usually just first ask, though, can you restart that to see if it works? Doesn't always.
Unfortunately, I do that with everything in life at home even. I'll be like,
yes.
Tech team said, did you restart it? Just restart it.
I think it's pretty much our first response. I hate asking people that. I don't want to assume that they didn't, but usually it fixes it.
Well, Tanya says just unplug it and plug it back in.
So the goal here tonight was really give you a look at like what does day-to-day look like, but then we still have a plan and goals. So on top of all that day-to-day support, we have goals to improve and move the district forward. So what is our progress from our goals? So we released a plan in 2022. We're almost complete with it, which I think is pretty great. One of the things is continuing for family outreach with our old Chromebooks and making sure they go to homes in our family and community. If someone needs one at home, that they get one. And these are ones that we can't sell back. They don't support MCAS, but families can use for devices at home. So that's something that we've done. Parent Square to increase our communication. That's huge. Everyone knows how big of a project that was. And one of the image on the slide here is just showing like there's 100% reach there with parents, and that's one of the, I think, the best things we've done because we can see that parents get it, unlike when we would send them off into the void from Aspen. So we are still working on improving that next year with more parent trainings, and they're constantly updating their platform. This year we increased and worked with the Department of Teaching and Learning to push out on the PD half-days technology training. And one of the things we got was feedback on the year before when we rolled out Prometheans for the middle school, and their feedback was we need more, and so we've really dedicated as much support as we can to supporting all the teachers that are getting new Prometheans. And those are our boards that we're replacing projectors, because one of the things that we've done is we've looked ahead at what the elementary was getting for technology, and 5 years ago we planned out how we would scale it up so that by the time the elementary opens, almost all of the middle school and high schools on the same technology platforms, from the PA system to the cameras to the boards in the room, the hover cams, so that is something that has been a lot of support to grow. Pushing out tech updates every month. That is something that there's samples here that I don't need to click on, but there's lots of gems. There's a lot of packed updates so that we're not emailing every single day. This year we've been involved with DESE. DESE called us and said, hey, we need you guys for a pet project, and we answered. The pet project was to look at how schools organize all of their technology inventory software and how do they communicate that out with staff. So part of that was developing an inventory for staff to look at and say, hey, do we have this software? I need something for online flashcards. Is it approved? And just a place for them to look. And looking at data privacy, and then how do you release it in a fun way. So we made a video to accompany that, which you could play in your spare time. Moving on to our library, that's one of our big things for our 3-year goal, our iLab, continuing to create the flexible opportunities for learning in there. So the redesign has been pretty great. Let's just look back here. This is where we were. Cluttering chaos, and this is where we are now. And it's just, this is the bird's eye view, one of my favorite cameras in there, and it shows you the different learning environments and learning commons that we offer in the library, and all that we've done in 3 years with capital funding. Capital funding has been so important to the technology plan in this time of budget crunches. So the tables in the back, and that's been one of, the students seem to love these new tables. They're always back there. They're clean and ergonomic and interesting to sit at. We were able to donate also the high school's older furniture to the middle school because we were on our way of renovating the middle school. So with all the work we've done in the library, 3 years later, all these different groups are coming. This is the hub of the high school. There's so many things going on in here all times. We updated the iLab. The iLab was chaos as well, and check out our cool podcasting table with all new equipment. And some of the things in the library were also about taking brain breaks and getting away from technology. Because the library is part of Library Innovation Technology Department, we also wanted to have breaks. And the puzzle here is a fun station that kids we see when they just want to get away from their computer. Just suddenly they're doing puzzles or playing with some of the other things. So there's different little stations that have been popping up. One of my favorite things that we did this year in the iLab, we did get great new furniture, but we expanded the sewing with the sewing machine and the equipment, and then we worked on some interdisciplinary projects. So the Big Blue builds, they made these cornhole boards in the manufacturing class, and then they were sewing the little sandbags that you throw in them in the iLab. So that's the sort of projects that we're really hoping would happen in the library. And Ms. Wilbur, our rock star library media specialist, is constantly encouraging staff to come up. What can we do with you? There's teachers in there with their classes all the time, and she's supporting them with resources, technology, and in the iLab while teaching 8 sections of Tech Ninjas, dealing with a one-to-one walk-in help desk, and students who are there from study halls. So that was a lot. That's really one of my most favorite projects. Again, capital supported, not hitting the regular budget. This year we rolled out new copier machines for the high school and middle school. This is emphasis was on saving resources. So paper cut is something where you have to unlock your jobs. There was a lot of piles of paper all over the schools in different offices that people wouldn't know where their job printed, or they'd forget about it, or they had mistakes, and this allowed you to review and to print at any machine and release it. There have been some growing pains, but so far it's great. If you print anywhere you go, if someone's in line, you can just go to another copier and release your job. One of the things that it does do, though, is it takes up a lot of time in the library with the students who are trying to print. And this will be deployed to the elementary school in the fall with the new machines, so they can print anywhere. This is what the paper cut dashboard looks like, and it shows you, like, where are you printing? How many prints a day? So this has helped us hone in on paper usage and to really look at what we're using some of the data to compare the price of workbooks. Should teaching and learning buy workbooks, or should we just spend paper? So for different curriculum areas where they're printing out things. Where is the cost savings and how does that look? So the paper cuts really helped us analyze our system. I'm really excited to see it K-12 next year. This is more grant money, not touching the budget for our plan. So we really wanted to upgrade the PA system at the high school. It was failing, the telephones and the cameras, and we've used capital and the SVPP grant that I applied for last year, and we got $350,000. And so the camera upgrades at the high school will be happening this summer. The PA system is at like 95% capacity. There's some cool features of it. It integrates with the I Love You Guys program. So one of the photos here shows that in the office, if there's a hold passing, a lockdown, something like that, they can press a button and it will give out the message that the principal pre-recorded. So that if there's a moment of chaos or something, that there's still the calm, this is what's happening. And then it also, the board with the clock on it will say what you're doing, and those are in the library, the main office, and the gym. And then the telephones were upgraded so that we could be compliant. If someone calls 911, that first responders could find you in the building. So that had to be done. So these are huge projects. I'm going through them pretty quickly in the interest of time here. We are almost at the point we're going to pull the plug on the current robotics cart. They have an aging PC cart, and we're pushing out these Mac Minis. So we're moving away from the big fancy Mac desktop screens because the middle school kids love to accidentally break them. The glass breaks. So what we found is we can use these monitors that we bought with ESSER funding. Everyone got a second monitor or a monitor for home when they were teaching remotely, and pushed them out with Mac Minis. And now we have a brand new lab that also works with the Project Lead the Way curriculum and the CS Engage grant that Dr. Bacon and her team are working on. So that's capital, and we'll be able to do the robotics lab and Natalie's lab in one swoop, which is great because typically that would be double the price, but the Mac Minis are more powerful and a lot less expensive. Now, Tech Ninjas. So we presented a little bit earlier this year, but this is a shout out to our seniors that are leaving that have been with us the longest. So Neil and Brandon, and they've done so much this year, and we're going to miss them, and I wanted to shout them out. Both of them are going off to college. They might both end up at UMass, and Neil's really wants to study computer engineering, and Brandon said mathematics is the foundation for later computer science, and both of them did say that this tech program, being Tech Ninjas for years, has influenced their future. So they've really helped us a lot. They are basically another person on our tech team, all of them, and we have a very large group this year, but they've been training all the students. Also a shout out to Daniel. He's a junior and he was just on the call a little while ago, but he has implemented this program with the SMS Tech Ninjas that he designed himself down there training and did all the curriculum and pushing out. Really excited for that. So thank you, Daniel, for that. So the Tech Ninja helped just a review of what they do. Just wanted to put this slide in here. So that was this year in a nutshell. What's next? So next is the big one, opening a new elementary school, which is a first for all of us. Supporting all the staff and all the new technology, everything. So we have this amazing schedule, and teachers are coming in August to do this, and that's something that we're so excited about because they can spend a full day immersed in their spaces and with the technology and with trainers. And then we will be following up all year long, again, pushing out those half-day PDs. So this is a sample of all the different technology. This isn't everything, but it's 90% of it, and every single space that you can think of. So again, more beautiful things to support as well. And then we have to think about the things behind the scenes, migrating Aspen, because there's a new elementary school from 3, moving different websites around, the phones, the systems, how does it all connect to the high school and middle school system. We're thinking about the future move of the preschool to Clark. When that happens, we have to support the staff there, so that's coming next, and what will the preschool look like, coordinating the tech needs in that building. Moving all of our paraprofessionals and tutors to M1s from 2017 MacBook Airs. The school committee already went through that process. And those are getting sold back, hopefully for some funds that will help us fund another technology project. So that's how we like to keep our cycle going. Still offering training, still working with principals with specialty requests to support when staff move rooms and the correct equipment isn't there, or they need drops or wiring. Those are just things that are constant. We're still finishing out our Promethean board capital project that we started in 2022, where we rolled out with Blaney Street. Then we did SMS Math and Science, SHS Math and Science, the middle school's ELA and Social Studies, and next year the new ELA opens, or SES, I call it ELE for elementary, but the Swampscott Elementary School opens. The Blaney boards will head to the middle school, and then we have more capital money to finish that project. So this was, again, like a 5-year rollout plan that we're coming to the end of. Middle school library renovations. We started this year with facilities by renovating the space itself, new carpet, new paint, and then moving it to accommodate the fact that there's a teacher teaching right behind this desk, because it used to be up at the top and there was someone down at the bottom. There was 8th grade classes in here. Now it's an actual working library again. We're really excited. We did a lot of weedings. We'll be presenting surplus lists for a school committee maybe at the next meeting, and there's so many things that went down in this space, and we have some furniture that came down from the high school as well. We're getting a nice screen right here on this wall. So there's a lot of stuff happening as we continue to make the middle school library just as beautiful as the high school library and a hub of the building. And then this is the middle school's infrastructure. This is a picture of the closet. I mean, that looks like the box of cords that everyone has in their house, but that's a working network. And there's 2 of those. They're tiny. They're like a hall closet that might have coats in it, but it should be the size of like a small classroom. And so we need to move those closets. So originally we were like, oh, the middle school's getting updated. This is amazing. They're slated for renovation. Let's put these projects off. And then we heard that that got pushed off. So the middle school needs like $4 or $5 million in technology upgrades. Just wanted to throw that out there gently here. Obviously, I'm working with Max Casper on that and Jason Kalishman on how that's going to look. But they need telephone upgrades, network, closets, cameras, and a new PA system to align with the I Love You Guys that we pushed out that the other schools have. So the middle school now is the child that we need to pay attention to. This is the middle child. We have to give them love. Next year we're doing some cybersecurity. If you look at this real quick, you think that's Amazon, but it's Amazon. And this is the type of stuff that comes out to our staff that we are training them on. Will you fall for this? Will you give away the keys to the kingdom and your Google password? And so that is something that we have to do. So school committee always sends me emails from the state saying, hey, will you do the cybersecurity training? We did, and we got the grant. So we will push that out next year. So that is happening. Continuing to support the one-to-one program. This is what our grids look like as we follow devices that they get freshman year, and then senior year they drop down to the middle school. But at some point the middle school is going to need a refresh, so that's all in a 12-year capital plan that a long-term planning that Cheryl and I have looked at that shows all the technology needs over the next 10 to 12 years. So we're out to 2033 of what we need and where we're going to need it as best as we can predict, because I want to thank Natalie for this photo of us predicting the future. What does it look like? And AI, the new frontier. So we have a draft. This will be for you, Mr. Giantis and Ms. Marshall. At the next policy, we need to update our responsible use policy to think about AI. So that can go in with the other policies that need some review and drafting from tonight. So many different things, but big shout out to the tech team. Really, Carrie O'Donnell, Carrie, Talbot, and Stephen are the full-year backbone of the staff, but then the unsung heroes, these are all full-time teachers. They assist everybody. The library media specialist. These women don't get a stipend. They run an unsung hero one-to-one desk all day long. And Sue Cresta and Natalie out of that middle school library. I don't know how many times I've walked in there and seen Natalie coming breathless down from the 3rd floor. She just had to run up and see a teacher while Sue watched her class because they needed tech support. constant. So Sue Comparato, Natalie Poverchuk, Priscilla King, and Molly Mativi are our digital learning specialists. They get the tiniest stipend in the world, and they work like 200 hours during the school year to help the staff with Aspen questions, teachers. So I talk about all the things we've done, and that was the tip of the iceberg, and now, honestly, it's all because of these people. I'm really just like, hey, what'd you guys do this year? And this is them, so I want to thank them, and wish everybody a good night. This is what I dream of, and all night, these are my dreams. So thank you, and...
I just want to highlight, I know we only have 2 committee members left, but the paper cut, do you understand what that is? It's printing to the copiers, and every staff member has a code. And so the printers have gone away, the toner has gone away for those printers, so the confidentiality issue has gone away because we all have our own little code.
Right.
And it was a massive undertaking, but it's worked really well.
It was a massive undertaking that failed twice, and we had to push out again and again because the copy machine company didn't love our network and how we set it up. So those are things that
there you go.
But we did it. And I think that one of the things that's interesting is we were just talking about nurses. They still have printers at the high school and the middle school because they have to run to find a copier and they have students in their place. But at the elementary, the nurses are connected in the main office and the copier's right there behind their desk. So we can eliminate more printers. So we look at efficiencies like that across the board. So that's
I love the ability to weigh like what workbooks or sheets, like, you know, and see what.
Yeah, Dr. Bacon presented at a meeting the other day to us, like, hey, this is what this would cost. Yeah, when she does her presentation, there was a group, her professional group, one of her PLCs, was talking about the cost analysis of that. But I love it. I mean, I can sit at my desk and print all day long, and then I go stand there, punch in my code, and like 5-6 jobs print out. Like it's great.
I think of all the things you presented, I mean, that's great, but this whole thing is so impressive, and the amount of work that gets done by the staff that's so small but efficient and hardworking is just amazing. And just to sit here and think that our district has this stuff it's like we should be shouting this. You should be so proud of yourself. I mean,
I can't do it without the team. They're amazing.
I'm just saying
you've
written hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of grants that have, you know, been great, and you're on top of, and in addition to doing this, I know how much work you're doing for the new school. You know, it's just like, it's nuts when you think about this, and I really appreciate it, and you know how much I appreciate a technology plan.
Yes, we do. 10 years later, we still do.
No, it's just, this is making our teachers better. I mean, our teachers are great, and this kind of help and the support that you're able to give them, and consistently and over or whatever, is making everyone better. And, you know, we're almost, you know, it's just great.
Thank you, Lytania.
Thank you, guys.
I just wanted to thank Ms. Mackey-Knowles for a super comprehensive presentation, and yeah, lots of food for thought there. So thanks for everything.
Yeah, lots for you to explore on your own. I didn't want to click on every link, but
you got to watch the video. It makes you smile. The video is the highlight.
We did make a funny short video in our spare time that Desi showed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Once you see it, I'm sure everyone will be proud. It's just it's a trend that's going around, or it's kind of old now. It's outdated. But when people said something like, "Oh, I'm a neighbor. Of course I come over to your house and borrow sugar." So ours is, we're the tech team. Of course we ask you to submit a ticket, but everyone has a little funny thing. So it's cute. It's 2 minutes long. It's linked.
It's so fun. It's fun that you're doing things for Desi, and I know for other, just across the state, I know like how much you're doing. So it's pretty awesome.
Before I conclude my report, there was one public comment that we missed, and so I'd like to throw it to Sam.
I apologize for not speaking up earlier.
Oh my God, sorry.
I wanted to comment on the budget cuts specifically for the physical education department in the school. This is not a shot at anybody on the school committee. This is not me trying to beat a dead horse. I simply just want to voice my concerns. I feel like as a student representative, I have a need to. So when I heard about the budget cut for the physical education department. I know I'm not supposed to speak about it like specifically, but I feel like in this situation it is justified. So when I heard about Mr. Mahan's budget cut, it kind of hit me deep, just because I know about not only my relationship with him, but the relationship that all the other students in the high school have with him, not only as a gym teacher, but as almost a guidance counselor. I think that the physical education department is already understaffed. Ideally, you'd have one teacher at least per grade in the high school. We have 2 for the first 2 grades, and then 1, Mr. Mahan, for the juniors and seniors. Getting rid of him would mean getting rid of the weightlifting program that was not existent before him. It would mean getting rid of the specific cooperative games gym class that was not there before him. It takes away from a lot of the decision you have, the pathway that you have that was created with him and with the department already being understaffed. Just to speak to him personally, you can ask any student in the high school. He's an amazing gym teacher. I mentioned that he's almost a guidance counselor to a lot of us, especially athletes. During the summer strength and conditioning program that they held, he was there involved from 6:30 in the morning until 12 with students, with me, varsity kids for football, and then kids all the way into the middle school. So coming into the high school, he has a relationship with kids even that are younger. And a lot of students are going to feel more comfortable coming to someone like that than their guidance counselor, especially out of middle school. So I think I'm not going to, talk about how great he is, because you can ask anyone in the school. I just think that this staff cut does not represent the needs of the student body and their well-being as a whole. So I just wanted to voice my concerns because I feel like it was needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, sorry to have missed you first.
No, I should have spoken up before.
I'm sorry.
No,
That
no,
was
it's fine.
important.
And he has his role as a rep and trying to keep in mind. Nice job. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes my report. And
All right.
all this time in.
Let me just. All right, the next thing on the agenda was the school committee, my chair update. I have been out of town for the last 2 meetings, so I don't know if you have anything, John, to report, but I do not currently have anything to report. So we could just
Nope,
skip
we
on.
were waiting for you to come back, so,
Oh, yeah.
on that
Yeah,
update.
sure.
You guys go. You have AP.
Oh, yeah, you guys go.
And you guys go.
And then bargaining updates, I think we just want to just sort of discuss
Sure.
what's happening.
I think overall, things are progressing with custodians, progressing with the administrative assistants. So I think closer to the finish line than not at this point, so.
Perfect. And policy, I know that now there's 3 pretty big policies on your desk.
Yep. And I've also been trying to work my way through some of the legacy ones as well, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the ones, I definitely think the bus, the cell phone, and the responsible use policy
Right,
are
higher priority.
might bump to the top.
Right, yes. Totally.
Yeah,
agree.
and so we had public comment. We are not taking any votes because we lost our quorum. So we'll just skip the consent agenda and take care of those regular sessions at the next meeting, and we're just going to adjourn, which we can't even vote on.
Bang the gavel.
So maybe we'll just sit here.
Till the next meeting, and then you can vote.
Just kidding.
Do you want to bang the gavel?
Yeah, thanks. Meeting is adjourned.